faithfully delivering value and exploring great books worldwide. Hi, this is Sally with the Book Talk. Today, I'm interpreting the book How to Read Picture Books to Children. Some might think, aren't picture books just fairy tales? It seems simple. Kids look at pictures, adults read the text or tell the story once. Isn't that enough? Uh, is it really necessary to learn how to read picture books? Well, actually, there are many misconceptions about reading picture books. Picture book is a loan word, meaning books created with drawings. In English, it's picture book. Earlier, people directly translated it as picture book. Now, it's adopted the kanji writing from Japanese for picture book called hubei. Picture books consist of a sequence of pictures with little text, or sometimes no text, relying entirely on images to convey stories. So, in picture books, images play a crucial role, emphasizing visual communication. Due to their unique nature, picture books are primarily for children, making it essential to learn proper reading techniques. The author is Matsui Tadashi of Japan, hailed as the father of Japanese picture books and beloved as a master storyteller. His notable works include Tara the Fisherman, Carpenter and Oniroku, Traffic Light, Blinking Eyes, among others. In 1956, Matsui Tadashi founded Kodomo no Tomo, Japan's first monthly picture book magazine. Over the next decades, Kodomo no Tomo released classics like First Time Shopping and Pulling Radishes, and unearthed world-renowned artists such as Akabane Suekichi and Nagashima Shinta. Authors Matsui Tadashi and Kodomo no Tomo greatly propelled the rise of picture books globally. In this book, Matsui Tadashi uses analyses of classics like The Wolf and the Seven Kids and Sleeping Beauty to teach proper ways to read with children. I've organized the book's content into two key questions. First, why read picture books to children? Second, how to read picture books to children. Let's start with the first question. Why read picture books to children? When reading picture books to kids, parents and children both participate, making it meaningful for everyone. During a child's growth, they initially learn about the world through various sounds, parents' expressions, and emotions. Therefore, reading picture books to children in their early years is especially important, as it's a great chance to cultivate their perception of the outside world. When reading picture books to kids, children not only see images and colors, touch the book, but also perceive the world through parents' expressive narration, fully engaging their imagination for a wonderful life experience. The deeper a child's feelings, the deeper their thinking, and the more vivid and rich their language becomes. Children with this picture book experience will, when they become parents, read the books they heard to their own kids. In this sense, picture books are an art of inheritance. Meanwhile, parents reading to children can not only communicate and enjoy happy bonding time, but also imagine themselves as kids entering the story world for simple, pure joy. From this perspective, the one who enjoys reading picture books the most might well be the reader. Therefore, reading to children isn't just because they can't read or to make it easier for them to understand. The greater significance is that during the reading, the reader and listener are together. Being together means standing side by side with curiosity and a desire to learn, experiencing the world, which can strengthen parent child bonds. Parents can transform the beautiful language from picture books into their own, expressing it with their voice, giving kids the most vivid and memorable reading experience. All right, now that we understand the role and meaning of reading to children, let's move on to how to read picture books to them, which is, our second topic today. Picture books have two languages, text and pictures. Text is easy to grasp, but reading pictures is often overlooked. Some even think that skipping pictures doesn't affect understanding. But actually, the key to reading picture books is reading the pictures. Why is that? First, in picture books, Illustrations tell the story in their own unique way. If you don't read the pictures carefully, you'll miss important information, like in Sleeping Beauty. This is the work of Swiss painter Felix Hoffmann. Intrigued and analytical, how did the author hide information within the illustrations? Let's go directly to the 14th scene in the book. In the picture, the chef is still tugging the young helper's ear. Look closely, and you'll notice the young helper's hat has fallen off. Yet, in the 10th scene, when the chef tugged his ear, the helper's hat didn't fall off. Could this be the artist's mistake? But upon careful observation, after the magic took effect, everything in the castle remained frozen, except the helper's hat fell off. That's strange. Through careful observation and connecting it to the whole story, you'll understand why this happened. Although everyone in the castle was frozen, the rose kept growing and its growth pushed off the helper's hat. So imagine how much important information and joy you'd miss if you didn't pay attention to reading the pictures. Therefore, when reading picture books, parents and children can explore the illustrations together. Secondly, toddlers who can't read can still experience the entire story through the pictures alone. Let's take an example. 3-year-old William excitedly grabbed The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids from his bookshelf. William eagerly opened to the first illustration, showing the mother goat saying goodbye before leaving to find food. Seeing the farewell scene, William imitated the mother goat, waving goodbye to the little goats. When the wolf appeared knocking on the door, William looked nervous. His eyebrows furrowed with worry for the goats. When they opened the door and the wolf pounced, William covered his eyes in fright before turning the page. Only when the mother goat returned and saved her kids did William finally smile again. So when children independently enjoy picture books, adults should stay quiet and simply be present. Don't interrupt. Protect their focused engagement with the story. Finally, combining text with pictures during reading sparks children's imagination, effectively recreating the story. How to understand this? Let's share another real-life example. One day, Anna was preparing to tell her 5-year-old son, George, the picture book story of The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids. Anna opened the book to the first picture showing the mother goat with a basket, waving goodbye to her kids. And Anna read the text from the picture book to George. One day, the mother goat was about to go out to find food. Just as Anna was going to turn the page, little George pointed at the first picture and said, "Mom, guess what the little goats and the mother said to each other?" Before Anna could answer, George said to her very seriously, the mother goat told her kids, "You must never open the door for the big bad wolf." And the little goats promised, "We absolutely won't open the door for the wolf. Only when Mom comes home can we open the door." That Anna was amazed because George had imagined all this just by looking at the pictures. Since the pictures in picture books are so important, what are the tricks to reading them? When you first get a picture book, don't read the text first. Instead, read the pictures, carefully observe the lines and composition. Next, pay attention to the details in the drawings, even without color. Pictures can tell a story brilliantly, all thanks to the details. Now, I'll use The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids to explain how picture details tell a story. The illustrator of this book is Swiss painter Felix Hoffmann. The cover shows 7 little goats locking the door from inside. The 7 little goats each have different expressions and poses. Although there's no wolf in the picture, you can still feel the tension. In the 4th scene, the image shows a heavy closed door, the wolf looking up, and the mother goat's figure in the distant forest. These vivid and detailed depictions enhance the book's realism and the story's tension, making the atmosphere even more intense. Later, the scene where the wolf goes to the bakery is vividly portrayed, the baker trembling at his shop door, the barber shop owners peeking out, the shoe shop owner watching from above, even the cat hiding in the doorway. From their expressions and actions, you can deeply sense the fear of the wolf's arrival. And these are things you simply can't grasp from the text alone. However, learning to read the pictures only covers half of it. Next comes learning how to read the text. So, what should you pay attention to when reading text? First, don't read silently. Speak each word aloud. Why should reading aloud involve sound? During growth, especially in infancy and toddlerhood, children perceive the world through sound. Parents' deeply emotional, powerful words can enlighten children's hearts, develop their minds, and nurture their imagination. Let me give an example. Mary has a 2-month-old baby named Twanzi. Mary loves talking to Twanzi and often reads picture books to him. One day, she chose a picture book she really loved, The Three Billy Goats Gruff, to read to Twanzi. Mary lay beside Twanzi, opened the book to where Twanzi could see clearly, and began reading slowly. At this, Twanzi stared at the pictures with shining eyes, utterly delighted, his body reacting in various ways. When Mary read about the little goat crossing the bridge with creaking sounds, Twanzi kicked his little feet. And when she read about the big goat crossing with louder creak, creak, creak sounds, Twanzi's feet wiggled even more. And when she read about the old goat crossing with creak dash, squeak dash, squeak sounds, Twanzi kicked and waved his arms and legs together. When Mary said the end, Twanzi would wave his hands and kick his feet as if urging her to read it again. In this process, when a mother reads with her breathing rhythm and emotions blended into her voice, it becomes the ultimate language experience for a child. Whether they understand or not, listening to this language of love is a child's first encounter with language, the beginning of perceiving life and the world through sound. Picture book images are static, but when combined with spoken words, they create continuous scenes that build a vivid, multidimensional story world. Moreover, if the reader uses appropriate tone, breath, and rhythm, they can breathe new life into the images, enhancing the picture book. Secondly, when reading text, pay attention to the story's plot and structure. Once you grasp these two elements of a story, you can gauge its difficulty level and roughly determine which age group the picture book suits. And most of the time, the length of the story can't be used as a judgment standard. So now let's compare the stories of The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids and Sleeping Beauty. Okay, let's start by discussing the plots. The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids tells the story of a big bad wolf. He sneaks into the goat's house while the mother is away, swallows the kids, but the brave mother rescues them, and the family lives happily ever after. This story teaches kids not to open the door to strangers when home alone. Sleeping Beauty tells of a princess cursed to sleep for 100 years. Later, a brave prince wakes her up, and they live happily together. The plot of this fairy tale is full of imagination, giving kids a vision of a beautiful future life. Now, look at the story structure. The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids happens within one day with consistent time and space, whereas Sleeping Beauty has causes and effects with 100-year gap in between. The story structure is also built to be more complex. Therefore, in both plot and structure, Sleeping Beauty is harder and better for older kids, while The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids suits toddlers more. Third, when reading, parents should use vivid language to tell the story. Only when parents tell it vividly will kids resonate with the story and naturally immerse themselves. If parents tell it flatly without ups and downs, the images in kids' minds break, thoughts drift away, and tension disappears. About reading picture books to kids, it's common to hear adults complain that children demand the same book daily. Actually, this phenomenon is very common and normal. If you're seeking a solution, the author's advice is don't stop reading it for days, a week, a month, or even half a year or a year. As long as the child enjoys it, keep reading the same picture book to them. For kids, this gives them the deepest, most memorable reading experience, and brings immense joy. When kids hear their favorite picture book, they perk up their ears, eyes shine, and might lick their lips. It's like they're fully immersed in the book's world, unable to pull away. Besides, when reading picture books to children, try to recall your childhood experiences and perspectives, striving to view the book through a child's eyes. Only then can you appreciate the author's life experiences, thoughts, aspirations, and their perspective on children. This allows you to better perform the picture book for children. Once you've mastered reading pictures and text, the final step is harmonizing words and illustrations. For example, the arrangement in the third scene of Sleeping Beauty. The text reads, "The king invited not only relatives and friends, but also prophetesses, women with magical powers to foretell destiny, hoping they'd favor his child." Yet, the illustration shows a servant writing invitations while the king thoughtfully holds a paper. Nearby, a plump chef has a helper bring 12 golden plates, reporting to the king there are only 12 plates for guests. At first glance, text and image seem unrelated, but we can infer the king is hesitating about sending a 13th invitation after hearing the chef's report. Here, the picture vividly expresses what the text doesn't directly state. Thus, pictures in picture books aren't mere text illustrations, but visual narratives of potential story developments. When words and images each fulfill their roles while maintaining harmony, the resulting storytelling transcends expectations and showcases picture books' artistic charm. Integrating words and pictures to fully understand a picture book requires considerable skill, experience, and practice. Therefore, reading to children requires mastering both visual and textual reading techniques. Finally, achieving word-image harmony means you've truly learned how to read picture books to children. If you treat picture books merely as textbooks, you'll overemphasize educational value. They may enter the mind, but not touch children's hearts. More importantly, picture books' primary role is moving hearts through joy. Only heartfelt joy becomes life force that nurtures growth. All right, that wraps up our guide on how to read picture books to kids. You'll find the show notes below the audio, and we'll see you tomorrow.